Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloud Institution again. So the Cloud Institution is the best software training institution. So today, as part of this video series on Terraform, we are going to see another important concept, that is Terraform workspace. Okay, so as part of this series, we have seen a lot of different topics, but today in this video we're going to see another important concept called Terraform workspace. So first of all, we'll see what is Terraform workspace. So Terraform workspace is a way to create multiple instances of a same infrastructure in different environments. For example, you may have a development environment, staging environment, and production environment. Each environment may require the same infrastructure but the different configurations. Yes. So for example, if you want to create different configuration for different infrastructure, I can use the Terraform workspace. Okay, so let's see something in the as a demo. Now, okay, so now this is my Terraform. Okay, so this is Terraform configuration. I can say Terraform. Now I have a different infrastructure. For example, this is in dev and staging and prod. All right, so now I have a three different infrastructure. Okay, so I should use the same code. Okay, for example, if I have to use the same particular code. Okay, that code has to be has to be different from Terraform dev environment and staging environment and prod environment. Okay, so I have to use the same code, but the variables, whatever the what the condition I wanted to be defining is going to be should be different. For example, I'm just giving dev. Okay, so dev environment and staging and then production. Okay. Okay, so based on the different, the workspace, whatever we are going to create, so all the variables should be working based on that one. Okay, so this is what it is, the Terraform workspace. So we're going to create a different workspace. Based on that, we are passing the variables from here. Okay, so here for the dev is equal to, okay, for example, I'm just going to give dev is equal to variable one. Okay, so on the staging is equal to variable two, and the production prod. Okay, so or production we are do you use it, production is equal to, okay, variable 3. Okay, so now if I can give whenever I'm just executing this one. Okay, so go and check whether the if it for dev is going to be choosing the variable 1, and the staging is going to be using the variable 2, and then the production is using the, okay, it's going to be using the variable 3. Okay, we got it right. Okay, so production. All right. Okay. So based on this is what it is. Okay. Now let's go and create that Terraform workspace. So how to create a Terraform workspace? How do you see the Terraform workspace? So Terraform workspace list is the command to see all the Terraform workspace is already available. Okay. Now we'll see the default is the Terraform workspace is available. Okay. Now let's go and create Terraform workspaces. Terraform workspace create or new and dev. Okay. It's creating a new workspace called dev. Okay. So now you can give a list. Okay, it's creating dev, right? So now it's going to be what we can do is we are going to be creating a Terraform develop new is equal to staging. Okay, and then the prod. Okay, so the production prod. Let's say for prod, right? So now we have created three different workspaces. Okay, so now whenever we are going to give Terraform workspace list, it's going to be giving me the option that Terraform prod and Terraform workspace and whatever the things, whatever the variables is going to be giving. Okay, now for me Terraform prod is got selected. Now what I want to do, I want, as you can see, star. So the production prod workspace is got selected. Okay, so now I'm going to select Terraform. I wanted to choose the default one. So now Terraform workspace, select default. So this is how you're going to be selecting the default workspace. I'm going to explain to you how this default workspace is and all this works. So if you can see the list, the star will be pointing to the default one. All right. Now what are we going to do is that, so now what we can see is that, okay, so now we'll see Terraform plan. Okay, Terraform plan. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that, the Terraform plan is going to be creating this instance. Okay, so we have one instance that's going to be creating the instance, right? Now what I'm going to do is that, so in order to work on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the count is equal to Terraform.workspace. As you can see here, Terraform.workspace is equal. Okay, so the default. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give 0 and then 1. So if the Terraform workspace is default, okay, then 0, which means that don't create. Okay, don't execute this particular command, particular block. Okay, so then if it is not, if it is something to some other default, some other environment, then you won't create. Okay, now, so before that, when I'm just choosing, it was the default one. Now I'm giving, if it is default, please don't create it. Okay, so if it is something else, please don't go and create it. Okay, now, so now if you can just Terraform plan now. Okay, now if you see Terraform plan, what's going to be happening here? Okay, no infrastructure changes, because I mentioned, like, based on Terraform workspace, whatever I'm selecting, I was told that if it is default, please don't select. Okay, so all other things, please select. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do Terraform workspace select. Okay, dev. Okay, okay. Now if you can see Terraform workspace list. Okay, so now it is dev. So eventually this condition is going to be getting false, right? Okay, so now what we can do is, okay, now Terraform plan again. Okay, now as you can see here, this is going to be creating. All right, so it's going to be creating with the Terraform workspace is equal to dev. Now, okay, so as you can see here, there is no tags is being added. Tags with the virtual machine has been added. Okay, now what are we going to do is that, so we are going to give the Terraform workspace equal to dev and the dollar and Terraform dot workspace. All right, okay, so this is what it is. Now what I'm going to do is that Terraform dot plan, if I can give, so the name is going to be creating with the dev infrastructure, dev environment is going to be creating. Okay, so it's going to be changing based on the different workspace that we are going to select. Okay, now as you can see here, virtual machine dev is creating, right? So now if I can just comment this one out. Okay, okay, or if I can let it be, if I can choose the Terraform workspace list, so dev one. Okay, so Terraform workspace select. Okay, so the prod, if I can choose prod, now as you can see here, so the Terraform virtual machine, the tag should be changing. So previously it was dev, now it's moved to prod. Then if you do Terraform plan, it will be changed to, okay, prod, right? So this is what called Terraform workspace. So based on the infrastructure, whatever you're going to select, and then the variable also will be get changed. Okay, so in the next video, so this is the kind of a Terraform workspace, so workspace, with the overall, so overall how to create and how to select and all these things. Okay, so we can also do something like how to delete. Okay, Terraform workspace lists. If you can see the list. Okay, so now we have these many infrastructures, and I'm going to delete Terraform workspace, delete dev is going to be deleting dev. If you can see the list, now we have only two. Similarly, let's delete this one, delete staging is going to be deleting the staging. Now if we see the list, now is there. Okay, now what are we going to do is that let's delete the prod. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so delete prod. Now it won't delete it because the workspace prod is in your active workspace, so you cannot delete this particular workspace. Okay, so now what we have to do to delete this one, Terraform workspace select default. I have to select default, and then only we should be able to delete this one. Okay, so what happens? I have a Terraform workspace list is equal to default. Okay, so let's see if you're able to delete the prod. Okay, so delete prod. Okay, now we have only one. Now what happens if you try to delete the default? Okay, so workspace default is your active workspace. You cannot delete the currently active workspace because I don't have anything else to to move to some other workspaces. Okay, so now in this case we cannot delete this default workspace. Okay, if you can create some different workspace, you can select delete the default workspace. Okay, so this is what called workspaces and how to apply the workspaces based on your current infrastructure. All right. Okay. So this is what all this, guys. So I'm going to show it to you some of the other very important concept in the next video on Terraform Workspace. Okay. So hope this video was very helpful for you to prepare for your the interviews or examinations. And if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and please stay tuned for the next or the rest of the videos in the future. Okay. So thank you guys and see you again.